as a Mail on Sunday journalist, our final guest has been following the lives and loves of the junior members of the royal family for over a decade. As a journalist, she's at the heart of the biggest royal story for a generation. And she knows better than most the story behind the woman who, in a month's time, steps into Princess Diana's shoes to become the most famous woman in the world. It's obvious to reveal how she thinks Catherine Middleton will fare in the House of Windsor. Please welcome Katie Nicholl. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's lovely to be with you all.
Well, we saw Katie, or Catherine, as she prefers to be known, just there, and she seemed very nervous and a little bit hesitant. How is she coping now, do you think? That was a few months ago.
Well, she's done 3 official engagements now, St Andrews, Anglesey and yesterday in Belfast, and I think each time we've seen her really grow into this role. The confidence is just really blossoming, and I think that's fantastic, and I think it's been a great idea to sort of slowly ship her out, because, of course, until that engagement announcement, we hadn't actually heard her speak.
Yes.
And now we've seen her speak, we've seen that interview, we've seen her go out and meet her public, because, of course, in 6-7 weeks' time, she is going to step into a very iconic role.
But the public seem to love her, don't they? And I actually disagree. I don't think she looks nervous. She looks very, very capable. Will she have been trained to this point?
Well, there's been media training, she's had advice, there have been courtiers at the palace who have helped her make this introduction into public life, which, of course, really started as soon as they'd left that bubble of St Andrews, where their university romance first blossomed. But really, I think, and as I conclude in my book, it's William who's helped her. William has had the whole of his life in front of the cameras, in the limelight, and actually he's the best teacher for her. True. That's the most amazing instruction and preparation for a life in the goldfish bowl, because it is a goldfish bowl of royalty.
And obviously people are going to compare her to Diana. How do you think she's going to cope?
It's inevitable, and she addressed that, didn't she, in that engagement interview, that William said there is no pressure, there's no expectation for that to fill those shoes. But of course, there's going to be, as soon as she steps out of the car, because she's arriving at Westminster Abbey in a car, there'll be comparisons with the dress. Has she gone for something streamlined? Has she gone for something huge with a great train like Diana? There will be those comparisons, but I have got to know Kate quite well through researching the book and speaking to many of her friends. And Diana was so much younger when she entered this. Right. Kate is 29. She's a very confident, mature woman with a huge amount of experience compared to Lady Diana Spencer, as she was then, who went in so green. And I think Kate's ready for this. And I agree with you. I think she's become so much more confident and she looks at home.
But when you were researching the book and when you were following them, didn't she just tell all her friends not to talk to you? Because one of the lessons of the whole experience with Diana was that, you know, all sorts of stories circulated about her, and Prince William must be worried now about intrusion into Kate's private life. Well,
you're absolutely right. When I first started doing this book, it's hard. It was hard to get information. She comes from a very small, very, very close family, and getting people to talk was hard, but you know, as well as I do as a journalist, if you want to get something enough, you get it, and but it was tough, and it's a book, you know, The Making for Romance, a very warm book. I think Kate comes across very well in it, and I think now that she is going into this role, slowly the barriers are coming down. I mean, earlier on in the week, the Palace released pictures from the Middleton's family album. People are now being allowed to speak because the role is changing, but I think it was important while they were going through that courtship that she could enjoy that protection.
But the barriers will always be there. Even when she's married, there'll always be a line that you won't be able to cross.
There absolutely will, and I think you're also right in bringing it back to Diana. They learnt so many lessons from Diana. Of course, she did engage with the press in a way that I don't think William and Kate are ever going to do, because Diana got her fingers burned on many times. And, yeah, those barriers are going to be in place to protect them. They've already made it clear they'll go back and live in Anglesey once they're married.
Can I just ask you something, Katie? I mean, obviously, you've been following them since their romance at St Andrews, as you mentioned. Now, the book is called The Making of a Royal Romance. What do you think that we'll find in here that we don't already know from the newspapers, that we can't already see from the internet? We've already got the pictures there. What will you give that other people can't?
Oh, there's some really nice anecdotes in there. I mean, I went right back to the beginning on William, and I uncover his first ever girlfriend, a girl called Rose Farquhar, who no one has ever known about. And I also interviewed Carly Massey-Birch. I know, you have to get your tongue around that one a little bit. have to get your tongue around that one a bit. Carly Massey Birch, who was William's first girlfriend at university, I interviewed her for this book, and I really sort of dig more into Kate's life, and I hope that you'll come away from this book having learnt a lot more about her character and also why she for so long. She was called Waity Katie by the press, but actually what I reveal is that back in 2007, when they got back together after breaking up, they made a pact, and William promised that he would marry Kate. He wanted to finish his military training first. I think it's amazing. She knew all of that time she had to cope with the Waity Katie, but she knew that this would end up in a marriage, and sure enough,
it did.
So take us to the wedding now. Is it true that she's losing all this weight? Let's get that clear for a start.
Well, I'm told that actually she's trying hard to put weight on. She's losing it because you were talking about wedding planners earlier. They don't have a wedding planner. They are doing this entirely on their own. So Kate's been checking out hotels, tasting menus, booking florists.
Like a normal couple
And
would.
you know what happens when you get married? Literally, you don't need to go on a diet because you drop that weight because you're so anxious all the time. You're burning that... Okay, well, I have to say I do.
And what do you know
it, so
about the
she's trying to
wedding?
put it
Because
on.
we've heard all these rumours, you know, about that there's going to be an Abbott tribute band and all this sort of stuff. Do you know any of that? Have you had any idea who the dress designer will be and what it will be like?
Well, of course, the name that's come out recently is Sarah Burton, but there is no comment from the palace on this. I hope it is, because I think it'll be a really fashion-forward step. It'll put McQueen on the map, and it will put Kate on the map in a way that she hasn't been up until now, because she's been quite criticised for being a little bit boring, a little bit staid, and I hope it is, but we've got to wait and see on that. But I think the most interesting thing about this wedding is they're doing it in 2 parts. They don't want to have a completely traditional wedding. This is not a state wedding, it's their wedding, and out of all of the 1,900 guests...
Sorry, is that why she's turning up in a car?
Yeah, she's turning up in a car rather than a carriage.
People's wedding,
But a little bit let down.
Well, listen, you're going to get the procession.
You're doing the Cinderella glass ball.
You'll get it, you'll get it.
What about the Abbott tribute band?
Well, she's a fan of ABBA.
Yeah.
But there will be a party that's going to go on into the early hours, which Prince Charles is hosting, because traditionally the couple go away on honeymoon. Not this couple, they are going to party into the early hours.
And Harry's best man, isn't it? That's the first time that's ever happened, isn't it? Best man.
Yes, because traditionally they have supporters.
Yes,
but, as
exactly.
you will see from the book, these brothers are best friends. They adore each other, and I don't think there was ever any question that Harry was
Chelsea
going to
be there?
Yes, she will. In fact, she's got an entourage to make sure that she's got the perfect dress and the perfect look, so there's no space for criticism, and she will be there.
Katie, hopefully we'll be hearing more from you as we get closer and closer to the big day itself. It's Katie Nicholl, everyone.